Welcome to The Blitz, a podcast from Coram Deo Church. The Blitz is all about tackling tough topics head-on at full speed. Are you ready? Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of the day it is that you happen to be checking out this podcast. My name is John, the lead pastor of Coram Deo Church, and I will be your host today on The Blitz. Today, I thought we should take a few moments to talk about the concept of inalienable rights, right? The concept of inalienable rights. This has been a hot issue, generally for a long time, but in this mad season of COVID, the issue of rights keeps coming up again and again and again. And right now, our Supreme Court is in a position to be making some rulings. There's hearings right now regarding the Biden administration mandates for the COVID vaccine and having OSHA enforcing that, as well as the hearings about the abortion laws. And so the Supreme Court is going to hand down two decisions in the coming months that are going to have a massive effect. Either way, whatever way they rule, it is going to have a massive effect. And at the very center of so many of these discussions and so many of these debates is the issue of inalienable rights. Okay? So let me read to you from the Declaration of Independence. In Congress, July 4th, 1776, the unanimous declaration of the 13 United States of America, when in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the cause which impel them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal and that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, okay? And it goes on and on and on and on and on, okay? In that statement, some of these inalienable rights are identified by the authors. Among them, they say, are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, okay? So I want to talk about the concept of unalienable rights. What does that mean? And whatever you think about the religious convictions of our founding fathers, whether they were genuine or not genuine or whatever, right? There can be lots of discussion on that. What you can't avoid is that in crafting this statement, that they were doing so with a distinctly biblical world view, right? This is this statement that people are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights is a statement and a concept that is unique to Christianity, okay? And it's not just that they're mentioning a creator, it's a way that they understand the relationship of government and those who are governed and this issue of rights. To say that a right is inalienable is to say that it is a right that cannot be removed by the government. That's what inalienable means. That right cannot become alien or outside to the individual. That is to say that these rights are pre-political. And this is one of the, I think, one of the most important distinctions that needs to be made, needs to be understood, it needs to be upheld and protected if if our Constitution is going to stand, and if human beings are going to flourish. So let me tease this out a little bit for you. Most of the other regimes and governments globally do not believe in inalienable rights. They believe in post-political rights. And what that means is that the government determines what rights we have. The government dictates what our rights are. The government is the source of our rights. They give us our rights. And if a government gives rights, then a government can take those rights away. This is how you get into totalitarian regimes and dictatorships, that your rights do not belong to you. They are alienable. They can be taken away because those rights are ultimately given to you by the state. Okay? And if you have no creator God that bestows rights upon human beings, then it is only rational to say that the governing authorities bestow those rights upon individuals. And when the government bestows rights upon individuals, the government can take away those rights. That is to say that the rights, human rights, are post-political. They come from our government. The opening statements of the Declaration of Independence says the exact opposite of that. And the effect of that distinction is nothing short of profound. To say that a right is bestowed by the Creator and that right is inalienable is to say that no government has the authority to take that right from an individual. That right is given by God and God alone, and God is the one who can take that right. But no government can remove a right from somebody, because these rights, rights as understood in a biblical worldview, are not bestowed by the government. They are bestowed by God. That is to say, these rights are pre-political. They exist before politics. They exist before and independent of government. They are inalienable, which means that they cannot be removed. And that is a absolutely revolutionary understanding of rights, by the way. If you look at history, this is not the way governments are typically set up. This is a unique situation. This is something that is really birthed out of a biblical worldview. This comes from text like Romans 13, where God is the one who puts authorities in place, and they have a job description that is given to them by God. Governments do not have the freedom to figure out what they want to do and what they don't want to do. They are, in Paul's words, the deacons of God. Our magistrates are God's deacons. And he goes on to say that they are to reward good and to punish evil. They cannot create rights. They cannot take rights away. Government exists to protect rights. And as you look through our political documents, the Bill of Rights and whatever, those documents are not meant to limit the rights of people. Those documents are meant to limit the rights of government. It's meant to keep the government from infringing upon our own rights. Okay? So an inalienable right is a right that God alone gives, that the government is not free to take from us. That is to say that it is pre-political, exists before governments. And if you don't have a God that's bestowing these rights, then these rights do not exist and the government is free to take them. If you do have a God who creates human beings, then all those who govern are subject themselves to God and are not free to take away these rights. This is an incredible concept. It's a foundational idea to the way that our country has existed. There is no question that we have not seen to apply that truth equally and as it ought to be. But it is inescapable. We have to acknowledge and confess that that is the bedrock of our country. We understand that God is the giver of rights. We understand that the government is not free to take those rights because the government cannot create rights and it cannot steal rights. The rights are inalienable. They are pre-political. This is what really is being debated right now through so many of the political debates. This is really what is in some senses hanging in the balance. Do we really believe that rights are inalienable? Do we really believe that it is God who gives us rights and that it is the government's job to protect those rights? So much of what has happened recently politically has been the opposite. There is the embrace of a godless ideology, a godless worldview. And because that worldview is godless, the state then is the one who bestows rights upon people. And when the state is the one who bestows rights and then can take rights, then what you have is you have a totalitarian regime. You're going to have widespread tyranny. You're going to have the oppression of people. They will suffer. So this idea of inalienable rights, one, it is unique in our democracy and our Constitution, our Declaration of Independence. The way that our country has created a form of government, it is an utterly unique notion, and it is something that is birthed out of a uniquely biblical world view where God bestows rights and no one has the right or authority to take those away. All right, this was a short one today, but I wanted to kind of just go after it because I know there's lots of discussions going on. Be praying for our country. Be praying for those who lead and govern over us. And until next time, take care.